All right, everybody, on today's podcast, we get straight to the meat. No more book recommendations, no more telling you to read them all. I just break it down and tell you actually how to today in this episode take out a piece of paper and create a belief that will get you the results you want by thinking it, feeling it, acting on it, and becoming it. And I take you through every question, the prompts, the way in which you embody one, the way that I am doing this. And your job now is to put pen to paper and make this true for you. And so if this show lands, please let me know so I don't live in an echo chamber. And I ask that you please share it with friends or anybody else that can benefit walking alongside of this with you, because this is the secret to the massive amount of success that you're looking for. And so without further ado, let's get into the show. It's about 20 minutes and have a pen and paper handy. So let's go. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Mind of George show. And I am beyond blessed that I got to speak at my incredible friend Xander's event in San Diego. And I feel even more blessed that in front of me are like 9 podcast outlines of my takeaways and my clarity. And today I want to make it straight to the meat, straight to the point, and make this something that we can all benefit from. So today we're going to talk about thinking it, feeling it, acting it, and becoming it. And this is one of those episodes where everybody gets to benefit and be served, including myself, as something that I always remember. One of the favorite quotes that I was ever given was, "A student says, I already know, and a master says, thanks for the reminder." And this reminder tickled, and I have been playing with this reminder since and utilizing this process with myself every day, and I have to share it with you. And so one of my favorite books in the world, and Chelsea, I love you. I know you're listening to this. Thank you for nicknaming me the Hammer. She recommended to me is The Greatest Salesman in the World by O.G. Mandino. And if you have never read that book is an absolute masterpiece in embodiment, in self-belief, and really implementing and practicing what it takes to become the best versions of ourselves, which is just as simple as what got me here won't get me there. And that's an incredible thing to celebrate. And there's a quote from O.G. Mandino that says, "Weak is he who permits his thoughts to control his actions. Strong is he who forces his actions to control his thoughts." And to say that tickles is an absolute understatement for me. It doesn't tickle. It does surgery on every ounce of my body and sends it into the most beautiful, beautiful reflections that I get to celebrate the fact that I'm not perfect. I'm perfect in God's eyes. I'm whole and complete. But if I spend a year in the gym and I get stronger and I stop getting stronger, it doesn't mean I'm a bad athlete. It doesn't mean that I failed. It means that I need to change some of the situations or circumstances or reps or workouts to get to a level I've never got to before. And that's what it really comes down to with being the best versions of ourselves, to be the best business owner, the best entrepreneur, the best marketer, the best whatever label that you would like to insert in there. And my homeboy Xander is an absolute G and savage, and I love him and I love hearing him speak and facilitate. And I get so much more out of being in the room and consuming from everybody, from the speakers, from all the shares. And it was absolutely beautiful. And he took everybody through this again and this process, and it lands at such a deep, visceral level. And so it's really a 4-step process to embody or change anything that's happening in our lives right now. And he breaks it down into, we have to think it, feel it, act it, and become it. But it's not a fake it till you make it thing. And that's the place where the game is lost the most, right? Same thing with our daily affirmations or our journaling practices or those habits that we put down on paper. If you're writing in your journal, you're not feeling anything, nothing shifted, right? And so feeling is where this game is won. And when we teach breath work to people, and I heard this again in the room, our energy precedes us, meaning it's how we believe and see ourselves on the inside and the belief that we hold that changes and creates the results that we want in the world. And the beautiful thing about beliefs is beliefs are not facts at all. And we fall into this trap of believing that the belief that we have, and whatever that belief is, and I have a lot of them. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I don't know what I'm talking about. Nobody likes me. Is this even going to be valuable? Blah, blah, blah. That's just the devil's in the details distracting me from my heart and my power. But they're just beliefs. They're not facts. They would never stand up in a court of law. You would never go and be able to prove a case on them because they're not tangible. They're not real. They're just stories that our brain makes up. And because I don't want to misquote, I'm not going to give the stat, but I read a lot of brain research on even how much of our memory and our thoughts are made up because of how much information we consume and take in that has to be filtered every day. And so when it boils down to shifting the results that we want in our life, we get to shift our belief. And I've recommended books and books galore. Benjamin Hardy, Nicole LePera being two of the big ones. And in every one of those books, you shift your belief first, and then the results follow. And in the personal development world, everybody, myself included, came into that world saying, I want these different results. And it was like, well, yeah, you're doing do, be, have, but it's actually be, do, have. And I love the way that this is broken down. And so it's a really simple 4-step process. Okay. And before I say any of these questions, and I'm actually going to give you questions to think through and to process through, to take 15, 20 minutes in your own time to do this exercise and give yourself a new belief that you get to affirm daily and take into the world that will start to change the view in which you see things. And first thing is, we have to understand that the depth of change that we create in our life is a simple equation that Xander broke down, which is the amount of reps that we do paired with the emotional intensity, the feeling in which we do it. Meaning, if we just check boxes or we say things about our beliefs that we don't feel to be true in our heart, that we don't feel to be true for us, the change is never going to happen. You see people like Tony Robbins, before he gets on stage, every single time he's on his rebounder and he's speaking beliefs into himself. And my favorite one is that beautiful little 5-year-old girl that stands in the mirror on the bathroom counter and she's like, I am strong, I am powerful, I am resilient. And you can see her light up and you can see that happen. And all too often, myself being the guiltiest party, have beliefs in my brain and I allow them to stop me from speaking new beliefs out publicly and loudly and proudly to embody and accomplish those things. And so we just have to make sure that we're flexing the right muscle, that we're feeling that muscle, and that we're embodying every ounce of it to be able to bring that new belief into our life and affirm it daily. And that belief might be, I'm a 7-figure entrepreneur who only works 4 hours a day while traveling the world with my family. That belief might be, I run a beautiful 6-figure business with a team that I love and gives back to charity while leveraging every ounce of it. That could be, I work 2 hours a day while changing the world and spending all the time with my family and building the business with my family. Whatever that belief is, that belief gets to be true for you. And this is the one place where you get to be delusional, because whatever that belief is hasn't been created yet. And our job is to own it, to see it, to feel it, and then hold it until it becomes true, so that every ounce of our actions, our thoughts, and our behaviors work together in our favor to create that result. And so repetition of a thought or action is number one thing for feeling it. But the deep emotional charge and intention is that emotional intensity. So our thoughts are the language of the intellect, but our feelings are the language of the subconscious. And so we're taught in our life to do these things, to visualize, to say affirmations, but we have to feel them in order for them to be effective. And so the first step is to think it. And this is really where the work begins. This is just current stating ourselves to know where we are, what's serving us and not serving us, so that we can come up with a new belief and then use that belief as our number one tool to embody it in our life. And so the way that this is done is we just think of an area in our life or business where we're feeling stuck, right? It could be, I can't get any more customers into my business. It could be, I'm really frustrated because I'm working too much, right? You just want to think of any area that's causing a tickle or an overwhelm or a fear or a negative reaction in your body. And so bring that to mind, write that down on a piece of paper with some thinking time, and then ask yourself this question. What is one belief that you have right now in relationship to that that's not serving you? I'll give you some of mine. That I've been doing this so long and I've never written anything down that I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. And you can see me welling up in tears as I say that, because that one feels real for me. The imposter syndrome feels real. Even though it's not true, the intellect in my brain likes to tell me it's true, and that prevents me from getting on the field or being in conversation with people. And so think of an area you're feeling stuck in life or business. Next, what is one belief you have right now that is not serving you? Next, what is the benefit of that belief? And so if I have that belief, I get to list out every benefit. And the hard thing for me is when I put my pen to paper, I couldn't find any benefits to that belief. So then the next question is, what is that belief costing me? What is it actually costing me? It's costing me time with my family. It's costing me what I claim to be my power and vision and my mission of helping people. It's costing me connection with people that I love, because instead of connecting with them, I'm in my head and not speaking my truth. It keeps me out of rooms and out of conversations with people that I want to spend time with because I make up stories that I don't belong or that I'm not good enough, right? And so we have to list out what that thing is actually costing us to see what pain it's causing and to make it real so that we can let it go. So then the next question is, do you want to keep that belief? I don't, not at all. And so then the next question, is that belief true? Can you think of a time it wasn't for you or others? And this might be where you take in Byron Katie's Four Noble Truths, like, is it true? Is it absolutely true? And then what are the consequences in my life when I believe it to be true? And what would my life look like if I had a separate belief? And so we go through these questions to give real tangible evidence to ourselves, because this is between me and me, not me and my team, not me and my family. This is between me and me, because nobody sees what happens when I look in the mirror but me. And so we start by bringing to our awareness, what's that one thing, that one nagging thing that's always in there where we feel stuck. And then what is one belief, that one belief that we have that's not serving us? What's the benefit of that belief? What's the cost of that belief? Do I, with integrity and being honest with myself, want to keep that belief or let it go? Is that belief absolutely true? And can I think of a time it wasn't for you or others? And for me, I got to hear this talk and then give my talk that wasn't prepared, that was directly from my heart. And yes, I was drenched in sweat and my heart rate was 130 like it is every single time I speak. But because I chose not to believe that belief and tell myself a new one, other results were created. And so if we really want to let it go, then we let it go, because beliefs are not facts. And so when we have the ability to program our body, our thoughts, our feelings, and our emotions, we need to be using the ones that empower us. And so once you get clear through that, you ask yourself this question: what's an empowering belief that you'd rather have? And for me, my belief is that I have value to share with the world, whether I write it down or not, as long as I'm in conversation with people. And I have a belief that as long as I'm present, care, and love people, that we both win, because we both have the opportunity to show up in our truth. And once we have this new belief, we get to affirm this new belief daily. And affirming this new belief daily comes down to owning it. And the reason I recommend The Greatest Salesman in the World is because the way that you go through that book is you write these new beliefs, and in that book you read the new belief, and you read it once in the morning when you wake up, you read it once at lunch, And then before you go to bed, you read it out loud so that you can hear it and speak it into the world. And when you have that new belief, what's the one action you can take today in accordance with that belief? And for me, it was getting on stage, being honest with people and telling them that I don't write talks. And most of the time, I'm afraid that I'm going to forget something or it's not going to be valuable because I think my public declaration is the easiest place for me to have breakthroughs and to be witnessed in it. And then it leads into when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I'm going to do is speak my belief out loud. And then ask myself, well, with this new belief, what's one action that I'm going to take today to execute and live and feel in that belief? And my shifting in my beliefs, in my behaviors, in how I view the world comes down to how many times I choose to flex the muscle of that new belief instead of believing the old disempowering beliefs. And that's how you think it through the process to then allow you to feel it and feel it in your body. And that means when you speak that belief, it has to tickle. And for me, the tickle, it scares me a little bit. The responsibility scares me, the responsibility of Ashley's life and her son's life and every one of our team members' life and my family and my clients and the people who rely on me. And I love that fear. That fear is responsibility. That fear holds me accountable to executing and showing up every day because no one else is coming. And so you think through, you get to your current state, and you design the belief of that future person of yourself that only you can see. Nobody else can tell you who that is. Nobody else can let you know that that's who you're supposed to be. This comes down to you and you. And then when I think it, my job to feel it is to hit it with as much repetition consistently as possible, which is why I created the Alliance. Not only for me, but for everybody else, because it also holds me accountable to following the plan, to putting my new belief in the quadrants and executing it every day and celebrating every single one of those wins. Because if I allow myself to my defaults, which is 39 years of programming in the opposite direction, I'm going to not accomplish my goals. I'm going to not move forward. I'm going to not achieve the things that I want to achieve. And so we think it, and then we feel it. And once we feel it, like we feel it in our body, we ask ourselves, what are the actions that I can take in accordance with that new belief? And that's really, really, really acting on it. And then it's the amount of reps with emotional intensity that we put in the acting on it that allow us to become it. And it's through this process, moment to moment, hour by hour, day by day, consistently planting new seeds for who we want to become, not who we currently are, that changes it. And that's where the work is done. Because as OG Mandino says, weak is he or she who permits his thoughts or her thoughts to control their actions. And strong is he or she who forces his or her actions to control their thoughts. And that's what it tangibly means to be, do, have. Is we take actions aligned with who we want to be in the future, ignoring the current thoughts that we're having, which will reprogram our brains and the results with consistency over time to create those results. And one of my favorite ways to embed this in is when you have this new belief, whatever that new belief is, you surround yourself in your environment with it, right? And maybe your belief is from doing a vivid vision, which is also the first part of coming into the Alliance. But then using environmental design to consistently and constantly remind yourself of who you're choosing to become until you become that thing. So you make it the background of your phone. You open up your phone and record an audio message, and you listen to it anytime you need to be reminded of what you're doing, who you're becoming, and what you're committed to. And then you speak it out loud to people in your ecosystem so they know as well, and they can hold you in that regard. And the results that we have are directly correlated to the amount of reps and emotional intensity paired with those reps of flexing the muscle of the new belief while rewriting the program of the old belief. And so that's how you think it, you feel it, you act it, and you become it. And so my assignment for you, if you so choose to take it, is to set some intentional time in your calendar, 10 minutes max, and to go through these questions and to allow yourself the process to become whatever version of yourself you'd want to become. Think of an area where you're feeling stuck in your life or business. Ask yourself, what's the one belief that you have right now that's not serving you? And this is done one at a time. So I recommend going to the deep one. What is the benefit or the payoff of that belief? You won't find many positive things. What is the cost of that belief? What is it actually costing you in your life and in your results? Do you want to keep that belief? Is that belief true? Can you think of a time it wasn't for you or others? And if not, let it go. What's an empowering belief you'd rather have? What is one action you can take today in accordance with that belief? And then go. And I mean go like you've never gone before, and be delusional and optimistic about every ounce of it until it becomes you, and then pick a new one and get back to work. And so that's what we got today. That's what I'm working on. And it's something I've been working on forever, and I will work on forever, so that I can continue to have the impact I want and change the people's lives that I want to change, and sleep like a baby with my head on the pillow, knowing that I made a difference. And that's what I wanted to share with you today. And so wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I believe in you. I love you. And my team and I are here to support you. So whether you send us a DM, whether you shoot us a message, whether you're in the Alliance or choose to join the Alliance, the most important thing is that you pick this up and use it. And if you even feel called to send me a DM and read your belief to me, I will celebrate you with you, and I will help you bring it into the world, because you're right. And whatever you choose to say, you can embody it, you can become it, and you can achieve it, as long as you make the choice. And so I love you to pieces. This has been another episode of the Mind of George Show. So I'll either see you in the next episode, or you'll hear me in your earballs. But either way, we're out.